Hey everybody, welcome back to Nerd Cave Cinema. All right, 2025, we're going to kick off the movie theater tour with the first movie I saw this year in the movie theater. It just happens to be a 30th anniversary of an all-time classic, a masterpiece in horror and detective movies. That is David Fincher's Seven. It was released starting this weekend in theaters in IMAX only, and I had never seen this movie before. It came out in 1995. Never saw it in a theater before. I have seen this movie dozens of times. It is one of my all-time favorite movies, and I was so excited to see it in IMAX tonight. Before I dive into the movie, I just got to say I'm a really big fan of these anniversary screenings that have now become the trend since the pandemic, to fill in some weekends that aren't really full of brand new releases, to give us some more options at the movie theater. Last year I saw Pulp Fiction in the theater for the first time for its 30th anniversary, so I'm really happy that the trend continued this January with Seven in the theaters. Now, like I said, I've seen this movie dozens of times. It's the first time seeing it in the theater, and the first thing that really hit me was how the horror effects and the killings and the dead bodies, and if you've seen Seven before, you know how gruesome it is. Being in the theater in the dark, forced to watch the movie without looking at something else or wandering your eye into something else in the room, the movie is very effective that way. So I'm really glad that that held up. Even after 30 years, this movie could still gross you out and scare you. And the sound was amazing on this. My favorite was the opening titles were really fun. Uh, this movie was made in 1995. This was before David Fincher started collaborating with Trent Reznor. But this movie has, the fingerprints and the DNA of a Nine Inch Nails song or album or concept or just aura. And imagine if Trent Reznor did the score for this movie. Wow, it would be amazing. Though nothing to take away from Howard Shore's score, which is good, but it's that classical thriller score from the 90s. But wow, to see Trent Reznor get his hand in it would be kind of cool. But Howard Shore is no slouch as well. Also, the one thing I noticed in IMAX was the ending of the movie. If you remember, it's in a big open field with a big power lines and a helicopter shots. Really looked cool in IMAX, almost like something like Christopher Nolan would stage in IMAX. So really cool to see that, especially because David Fincher movies have been just becoming on Netflix. The last couple ones, The Killer and Mank. It was really cool to see a David Fincher movie on the big screen in IMAX. The MVP of the movie for me, I love Morgan Freeman in this movie. He's a steady hand. The movie opens with his point of view and it kind of ends with his point of view, especially with the Hemingway quote at the end. And he is kind of the force of the movie. And just he was on a heater in the 90s here on an all time run. And this is just one of the many masterful roles that he has. And Brad Pitt once again proves that he is a great supporting actor, character actor, trapped in a leading man's body. He won for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, being the second character, if you will, in that movie. And he is just so good at nuance and comedy, and this is the first time he really got to spread his wings on that. I'm gonna rate all these movies when I go to the theater, 1 through 5, for 1 through 5 stars. And this movie, of course, is a 5-star masterpiece. Believe me, there's a lot of movies that come out in January that you can't say that about, but this is the 30th anniversary of an all-time classic. It's going to be in select IMAXs for a couple weeks now, I think. So please get out and see it. It's all in relation to it being released on 4K, and it also looks like Panic Room and some other David Fincher movies are getting a 4K release. Boy, I would love to see any of his movies on the big screen, especially The Killer, which, like I said, only came out on Netflix. And always, when I do a review of a movie, I want to give you some recommendations. If you can't get to the theater, or if you want to watch something that is like this movie because you liked it so much, I really want to give some recommendations. I feel like that's going to be kind of the cornerstone of this YouTube channel. Of course, I have the Blu-ray edition of Seven. Like I said, though, they're coming out the 4K edition. It's going to be in a steelbook, and there's also a regular version as well. I'm going to pick that up. But it's hard to do it when you have the Blu-ray. If you're a collector like me, you know this. You want to get the 4K. I don't have a 4K set up yet, but I'm gonna get one really soon, and then watch out bank account because I'm gonna lose a lot of money. Another great movie that is has DNA of Seven is Memories of a Murder. Is a Criterion Collection from 2003. Bong Joon Ho's beautiful movie. It has a lot to do with Seven. It has a lot of DNA with it, with the humor, with the gruesomeness of it. And this one, unlike Seven, doesn't take place over a week. It takes over years, and it's a fabulous movie. Highly recommend it. It's on the Criterion Collection, so it's not that hard to find. And also, if you love Seven, you're gonna love more of David Fincher's movies. Just about every other one of his movies has something to do with a killer or serial killer. My favorite David Fincher movie is Zodiac. I think it is a masterpiece. Seven is a masterpiece. What can I say? The man has masterpieces, and Zodiac is one of them that I highly recommend. You can also check out The Killer that just came out on Netflix. Like I said, another great Fincher movie that was just released that doesn't get talked about as much because, like I said, it really just got dumped on Netflix, and movies don't really feel that special on Netflix when they get released like that. I know I loved Rebel Ridge from last year, but that was really about the only original Netflix movie that I can even think of that came out last year. All right, that was my review of Seven back in theaters for the 30th anniversary in IMAX for a limited time. So if you love David Fincher movies and you never got the chance to see Seven, either you're too young or you didn't really know about it at the time, I highly recommend you check it out if you are a big movie fan of Fincher films. All right, we'll see you next time. Stay nerdy. Thanks. Bye.